Okay. Hello, everybody. I am taking over the Talk to the Entities Facebook group today. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak with you and maybe entice you or invite you into what you know about communicating, receiving from, cooperating with, and clearing spirits. It's funny that, probably many of you think that you don't have an ability, or maybe some of you do think you have an ability, but that might only be the tip of the iceberg of what is possible. I know when I was a kid growing up, I was always interested in magic and telepathy, and I would play games to try to strengthen that muscle for myself. And it was a lot of fun. And then there were people who were like, you can't do that. You can't know that. You can't, the you can'ts. And who do you think you are's? And a lot of us shut down those abilities. And if we shut them down, they're still there. They're just sleeping for a while. So wake up, wake up, wake up, abilities. It's time to shine. And I think nowadays people are much more open to the magic and the possibilities, or they're afraid of what you're capable of. So how much fun can we have exploring it? One of the things that I found out about myself was I was able to communicate with spirits who had just crossed over. I found that out through my brother having a motorcycle accident when he was 30 years old. He was my older brother. And I had been doing some, personal development work that was a lot of work. It was like a lot of breathing and a lot of significance. And it did work, but it was hard work. And with that, I was able to communicate with my brother and have all of these downloads, and it was awesome. But like I had to go through this whole routine to get there, to get to be open and present. And years later, many, many years later, when I came across the Access tools and how easy and pragmatic and not significant they were, it just made it so much more available. So one of the things that I learned is making something significant actually backfires on you. It sticks you. It keeps you from having greater awareness. So anywhere that you've made anything significant, and it has stuck you with a level of something that isn't a continuous question and a continuous expanding of your awareness, your possibilities, your capacities. Will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Yeah. Cool. So how do you learn what your capacities are? And how do you expand them? Even if you have a little inkling, that one of the things that I noticed is the things that I was curious about or thought was cool in other people, those are abilities that I have too. and it might be a little different variation, but we learn how to expand upon our capacities through being curious and playing with it. So, what is it that you think is cool about Shannon and other facilitators that you're like, ooh, or even just, other psychics, that maybe you also have an ability in that area? And what would it take for you to be really curious about what else is possible with that ability? And what are you capable of that you haven't chosen yet? It's a great question to ask. What am I capable of that I haven't chosen yet? And remember, when you ask a question, you're not looking for the answer. You're not looking for something to solidify. You're actually looking for awareness. And even if an awareness comes right away, like what else? And what else? Because what I have discovered over the 21 years that I have been playing with the Access tools is that every single area, ability, concept is like this super deep well that continues growing. It's infinite, you know? And I don't think that we really can conceive of what infinite is. But if you think you're happy, like there's so much more happiness. I have found so much more greater, deeper peace and happiness than I ever thought possible. And similarly with awareness, um, the subtleties of energy, listening to the whispers, that can grow and grow and grow. And you think, oh, wow, I'm at this level, but there's infinite awareness, infinite levels, infinite possibilities. So, what if we were to stay curious, live in the question of what else is possible? What else are we capable of? What else can we choose? How much more fun and joy can we truly embody? And then see what happens. Let's see. I have a couple of notes because I completely forget when I'm doing lives. I'm like, and there's no comments for me to respond to. So, building your trust in you. This is another thing that Talk to the Entities has really, really helped me with. I remember Shannon talking about it in classes, and I'm sure she probably mentions in all the classes. But how much have you put your trust in other people when really it's about building our trust in ourselves, building our trust in our own awareness? Everything that doesn't allow that, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. Talk to the Entities classes are a really great exercise for building your trust in you. Almost like nothing else can get to those muscles because, it's not a physical thing in this reality. It's an energetic awareness. And so learning how to flex those muscles of receiving, perceiving, knowing, and being, it takes practice. It's not going to build in, a day. This is something that we need to exercise more and more, and it grows, and then it gets super fun, and then it gets challenging, but that's how muscles grow, and that's how your life can also grow. So, one of my favorite tools in Talk to the Entities is actually the Talk to the Entities communication flowchart. Many times when I'm facilitating someone, it comes around to entities. They're like, "Oh, I had this stomach ache," or "Oh, I felt this weird jittery thing," or whatever. And I get this awareness and I just ask, "Is that an entity or something else?" And many, many times it's an entity. And when you're in it yourself, asking yourself these questions, having the flow chart is dynamically helpful because you're like you're in it and you don't know where to go. But the flow chart just walks you through these steps of questions. And I also use it when I'm facilitating, going through the steps of questions. And it's it's just ease in building your muscle of awareness. What are you aware of? What are you aware of that maybe you never thought? What if a lot of things that you thought were physical ailments, maybe you ate something and you thought that you felt that way because of what you ate, has nothing to do with what you ate? What if it has to do with awareness of a presence or something else? Maybe it's an awareness of the earth. And when you ask the questions and go through the flow chart, it just makes your unfolding of awareness so much easier. So you get that flow chart in the beginning class, and I actually took a picture of it and I have it on my phone in my favorite photos, so I always have access to it. And I'll even facilitate myself with that flow chart. Um, a while back, my mother-in-law, well, is it an ex-mother-in-law when you get divorced? I don't know. Anyway, my mother-in-law passed away. She was like 93. And after I got divorced, we didn't really talk much. And I thought, oh, she's going to be angry with me. But I felt her presence and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to lower my barriers and deal with it. And I I sat for a moment, I lowered my barriers, and the the most kind of hug feeling and thank you. And she was just so grateful for me being married to her son for the 20 years that we were married. And she totally had no anger, resentment, or judgment about the marriage ending. She was grateful. She loved my kids. And it was beautiful. And I was so glad that I was willing to look at it, to receive her gratitude. And then she left. And it was like, wow, that was so cool. So, what if you were willing to play with the tools, to not be in conclusion of what a spirit wants to communicate with you about, um, to allow them to contribute to you, to your life, to your money flows, to your joy? What might be possible? Um, and one last point. For me, the investment in all the access classes and the Talk to the Entities classes is contributing to my wealth of being. And the wealth of being is directly related to your receiving, because being and receiving are tied together. So, what can you choose to expand your wealth of being? What can you invest in to expand your wealth of being that would expand your receiving, your money flows, your connections and relationships, your wealth and prosperity, your health? What wealth of being can you choose? So I hope you come play with Talk to the Entities and the other access classes and check out all the different facilitators. Each one has such an amazing gift, and as do you. So what gifts do you have? And what are you being in the world? And what can we choose more of? Thanks so much. See you somewhere in the world.